I see what you're doing at F&P AI. How can you do that for me?
We want to build this for them. This is theirs.
With F&P AI, it's, hey man, we're going to empower you, but you need to have money.
Of course.
You need to be able to have money so you can trade this type of value. This is not cheap.
Everyone knows that this isn't something we just learned in a classroom. Everything we've built for ourselves, we're now offering for a selected few. Bob, when did you realize this was something we should offer outside of the walls?
Don't start with me, man. I don't want to answer this question.
I don't know. Let's kick it to John. John, why are we doing this? What are we doing?
We're doing this in a live environment, which I think is our superpower, right? And why we're able to build this out and prove its use and validate, I think, what a lot of people are having an issue with, which is how do I involve AI in my business? And I think we've talked about this before, right? Is that a lot of people think of AI as this replacement tool or this efficiency increaser. And yes, it's great for efficiency, but I think people tie efficiency to a person's job too much. And in doing that, we're really removing the idea of this being a tool and an enhancement for somebody's job and career to allow them to 10x what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So why are we doing this for other people? Well, we want to help the industry, number one. And number two, we've just found so much value, I think, here internally.
Yeah, I like the transparency of the value piece. The reason I say not me is because I'm a little bit bothered, I think today more than other days, but I just keep seeing people use AI. Let me back up. People like tricks. They like widgets. They like tactics. But the problem with all of those words, widgets, tricks, or tactics, is you start to flirt with it not being genuine and not really improving the business. And so I feel like anybody that's building with AI right now, like, don't build widgets. Like, I would say a ad that looks like a person speaking and doing an ad, that's a trick. It's a widget. You know, you're using an AI video, right? We just looked at the AI video that was sent this morning. Incredibly impressive.
The one of Drew.
Yeah, oh, yeah. But I don't want that to be outward facing, right? I think videos like that and what we're talking about are videos that are generated by AI. I think that's perfect for training purposes. And you slap on a big, hey, we're proud to present our AI trainer, you know, and then it's us, right? And you're very transparent. I've just seen too many like widgets, and I get it. Most people are excited and like think very, very short term because that's probably human nature.
A lot of people call it slop.
That's true too. That is very true. And why are we doing it? Because we're thinking long term. And the reason why I say long term is we're not consulting people on AI. I do believe there's some truth to those who teach can't do, right? I think there's some truth to that. And so this is not about going and consulting someone. I don't think that's completely wrong if you're teaching other people. Don't mistake that. But we're not consulting other people. We're building for them and with them. And the analogy I gave was pushing people off the cliff to say, like, look, why don't you just take the last 3 years of our life and compress it into 60 days, basically. And you train your team, you get all the tools, you get all the dashboards, the intelligent layers, and you get brought up to where I think businesses should be today. That's why I think that it's important that we focus on building, not consulting, right? And so that's a little bit of kind of the thought process, but John said it very clearly, and I want to be very transparent about this. This is an awesome opportunity to learn from other people and to network and to have fun and to celebrate business, to celebrate progress, and to celebrate people along the way. And so what I mean by that is it's just a very rewarding feeling when you go and train someone and coach them up to be more productive, and the response that they get after that productivity sits in and they see it and feel it is incredibly rewarding. And so why are we going to try to box that up and create a product out of it when we can just empower more people? And I believe in long-term good karma. I believe in networking. I believe in humans. I think above all, like most things, we're going to probably go full circle with AI, and it's going to land somewhere not too far away from how we operate today. The world will change, everything will change, but what we think of other humans is probably going to be close to what we think today. And so why not just jump to there and use this in a collaborative way? And so that's a bunch of verbiage, but it's to say that we're thinking long term and we're strengthening our relationships.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing it.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see us building here in house first before even going out and speaking to any of these businesses that want some advice or want to start building themselves, or even asking us to help them build. So coming off of EDC and some conversations that you've had, John, in house as well with some of these members that are into AI. What would you say businesses are asking for when they're reaching out, or when they're trying to collaborate on what we're building or what they're trying to build?
At the end of the day, I think it's very simple. It's just, what is the data trying to tell me? And I think it's so parsed and partitioned in different environments and different vendors and software providers that it's hard to tell the story of what this data is trying to tell you. So at the end of the day, what these businesses need is their business to tell them what's going on and what it needs help with.
Yeah, I want to add another data point to the previous question about why also, because I'm going to be just very transparent. I think that when we started to look at a monetization strategy for a lot of different efforts, we felt that the delta between where established successful businesses are today and where technology is was the largest gap that we could plug in and add value.
Especially in our industry.
Yeah, especially in our industry. And while we plug that value, we can trade that for a monetary amount that seems substantial up front, whether that's 5 figures, 6 figures, whatever it is. But we're very transparent, and you've seen this in all of our intake meetings. And the way that I like to say it is, look, all you're doing is trading dollars for time. Like, you can go do this, but it's going to take you probably longer than it took us, and it took us probably about 3 years to put all this thought process together and stuff. And that's talking to a user that's just not even using AI at all, right? And so I like that transparency because it makes the product bulletproof. And the fact that we're building for ourselves in our own live environment and improving our business along the way, and we get to say that as the business case. This is not like a, hey, let's test in your business and see it provides value. This is a, dude, I'm eating my own cake here, like, and then offering you some. And so it's to me the most genuine way of doing business. It's not for everyone, but I think that people that do want to engage, I think would be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and it's really cool because people see my shirt. They see F&P AI and they're asking like, "Hey, what is that F&P AI? I mean, I know you're F&P, but what's the AI piece?" And you talk about it often. You say people first, AI second. So can you tell us why you say people first, AI second, and what does that mean in practice?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important to highlight both you and John's work. I'm not patronizing. I think that both of y'all have done a commendable job with staying focused on purpose and focused on a mission. And I celebrate that because in a world where immediate satisfaction and materialistic distractions or earthly distractions is so prevalent and so in your face today because of social media and because of get rich quick schemes, and because of just media in general and how information is being shared so loosely, like it's awesome to see very capable, and I know it sounds weird, so hopefully I'm okay doing this, but it seems awesome to see wildly capable individuals that want to continue to think long term and believe in empowering people. Because, and I think there's one, that purpose thing, but I think it's also because y'all are smart and get it. Like, I think we are going to go full circle with all this stuff, and
Mhm.
it's like, why try to build something in a rat race when you can just strengthen something and come out the other side more educated, more mature, more knowledgeable about the nuances of how to use this technology correctly for the long term, and build on something that is a strong foundation versus joining a rat race and trying to trade that for some dollar amount, some nominal dollar amount. Because if you're trying to look for a dollar amount, go join the rat race and try to create a product and monetize it and sell it, and get your little nut. I'm not saying that that's not the right thing to do. I just don't look at my work as the next 5 years or 10 years. I look at it as a lifelong body of work. And it's really not a body of work. It's more of what makes me get up every day. And people has a lot to do with that. And so it's neat to, it almost takes a weight off the shoulders a little bit to just say that, dude, I ain't going anywhere. I'm in this for a long time. And that's because we have a lot of questions to answer here at F&P, with the brands that we operate, with the management styles that we're using, with the AI builds that we're doing. I mean, we are reiterating a lot of our work, but the foundation is still people.
Yeah, absolutely. So for business owners that are, interested or curious about what's going on and still might even question, like, okay, I still don't get it. What is F&P AI, and what are you offering here? What are you doing? John, can you walk us through what, if a business reaches out and says, hey, I'm interested in what F&P AI is, or I'm interested in bringing AI into my business. Can you walk us through what a discovery looks like?
You can talk about the product itself, or
I was just gonna talk about intake, what we're thinking about, what the kind of data that we need.
Yeah.
But yeah, what
let me
thoughts
let
you have?
me just preface your answer, because I know people want to hear his answer, but I want to make sure people understand the context. F&P Brands is a management company. Because of our environment, we're forced to manage more volume than most businesses. Volume in a lot of aspects: transactions, cash, because it's cash intensive, people, um, just technology, softwares, services. There's so many touch points, and there's so much volume in our business, and there's so little margins. There's small margins. So you have to be good at management in order to be able to provide for your livelihood and your families in the restaurant business. So by virtue of our environment, we have created a tool within that management thought process and focus that we're now extending out to others. And so I think it's also a function of our environment. But
Yeah, I mean, really, the company comes to us, and it's exactly that, right? So we have a training ground, this live environment where we're building these things out in with insane amounts of transactions, hundreds of payables a week, whatever it might be, right, across the board. And then we're going to these other companies that might not have as many transactions, might have like 10, 20 payables a week or even less. So us showing them, number one, what we're able to do at that capacity, and then gives them confidence in the ability for us to do that at a lower capacity for something like for them, right? But what am I looking for? What are they like? I guess rephrase the question if you don't mind. Not rephrase it, but just reiterate it, just so I can answer it exact. But
Yeah, when someone comes to us and wants AI integrated into their business, or says, let's just say, hey, you know what? I see what you're doing at F&P AI. How can you do that for me?
Yeah.
And that starts in a couple different steps, right? So it's an intake or a discovery
Yep.
call. So if we have a discovery call with them, it's really trying to figure out what are your pain points.
Yeah, what are your focus areas? What do you wish was more efficient in your business? Um, and going back to my original term, right? I don't want to confuse efficiency with replacement because it's not. And it's really about people's time, right? So seeing where a lot of your people's time is going and where it's getting stuck and bottlenecked is ideally where we start, and what we want to look at first. And it's pretty common that everything goes back to money at the end of the day, right? Because it's the follow the money scenario. So a place that we usually start is accounting, is what it seems to be right now. And that can be in different realms, right? Whether it's supply chain pricing to actual payables and just managing money. But because a lot of time in that realm gets really stuck in manual efforts, right? And like constant manual auditing, constant manual data insertion into documents and spreadsheets and et cetera. So,
Yeah, I love what you say there because you're saying it's not a replacement, and that ties back into what Bob also says. People first, AI second, and it's important to know that because when someone's building and or wanting to build and starting to think about AI, it's almost like an automatic thought in their mind. It's like, is this going to replace my team?
it's the first thing
You know,
everybody thinks about.
Everyone thinks that because it's like,
Honestly.
if I'm building these automations, well, obviously, what are they going to do? And that's why we're so driven by people first, because we're building to help alleviate some of that manual tasks that some of these individuals in those roles shouldn't even have to be doing or spending that much time in. Now you're enabling them and training them, giving them that leadership so that they can focus on all the other areas, and then we step back, right? We take a step back, and it's like, hey, you guys know what you're doing here now, and we're only here to guide you along the way, and then we walk away.
And it's a funny transition period with these folks because it starts with oh, interesting. Does this really work? Where's this data coming from? Okay. Oh, wow, this is pretty magical. Oh, wow, it's actually working. And then it goes very quickly to, oh, can you do this? Can you do this? How about this? And like, I need this efficiency here. I'm putting too much time here. So it's like a wild transition phase that I've seen with almost every individual that we've done this with, right? Internally, and even talking to people externally. So
I'm a super simple person, and I relate a lot of things to people. To humans, I should say. But I go back to that boyfriend and girlfriend analogy. It's like if you're in a relationship, and this is probably real relationship advice, so take it for what it's worth. But I don't think you should make your partner feel like they absolutely need you. Like that's not a good thing. That's called leverage, and you don't want leverage in a relationship. You should be empowering your significant other. You should be growing with them, and there's so much of, well, if I can position myself in such a way to where my significant other needs me, then they won't leave me. And the reason I bring that up is because that's just that kind of human nature, and it's sad because we're all I guess we can all succumb to that in some way, shape, or form. But if along those same lines, if we just apply the same thinking to business, I think that's the best way to do business. It's like, dude, I don't want them to feel like they absolutely need us. They want to be with us. So they want to be working with us. And so with F&P AI, it's, hey man, we're going to empower you, but they're going to want to re-engage or call or keep up with F&P, hopefully, because we're going to be on some cutting edge shit constantly.
Let me add on to that because it's coming from an agency environment. That was the agency model, was leverage, right?
Yeah.
It was, let me build this thing for you, and then let me charge you monthly to continue fixing it. And then you're stuck with me, sorry. That was the model forever.
And then, oh, I'm the hero all the time.
Then the hero all the
You know
time.
what I mean?
Yeah, oh, you got something broken? Okay, I'm here to save the day.
Yeah.
What we're doing now is we want to build this for them. This is theirs. And they're going to own it. They're going to own the repo. They're going to own the code. They're going to own every bit of it. And then what we're recommending in every meeting is that you should start thinking about adding someone, an individual to this business that can be trained to continuously update this and make it better. And I mean, this is the new jobs that are coming into effect in this world that we're living in right now. And either you jump to that opportunity now and get ahead of it, or you're going to end up doing it at some point.
And this is my just natural thought process. This is not soliciting, but maybe it is. I don't know. the value is going to be there because we're going to work our asses off to make sure it's
Oh,
there.
for sure.
It's not picture perfect on the first, go. This is a lot of trial and error. But if we approach it the correct way, the value is going to be so large that we're going to have to make decisions. And I foresee if we do things in a genuine way and keep working our butts off with this, is the only natural way to transact with this type of operating systems and intelligence layers and management styles is going to be not with cash. It's going to be with equity. I think that's the only natural. I feel like that's going to be the most natural way for a business not to, because cash is the blood of a business, right? So how many businesses have 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 to shell out to overhaul their whole company? 500,000, whatever the number is. Yeah. Not very many. And unless if they're going to finance that and put it over an amortization schedule, which probably some people might consider, and invest in infrastructure or intellectual capital or their team. Some people look at debt that way. A lot of people associate debt with, hey, I'm just buying this asset, so I need, a loan. There's some people that have good financing partners that say, hey, I'm going after intellectual capital, or I'm going after, people capital. I need $500,000 to be able to sustain these salaries for 12 months. And in these 12 months, we're going to get the business out of the rut, Well, similar to this, you can have that approach, but I think the most logical step is going to be don't take so much cash out of the business and offer equity.
Yeah.
Because we get to extend part of our infrastructure and continue to build with like-minded people. And so there's some synergies there.
That swaps leverage for a partnership.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I'm excited for that day to come one day, but we're not going to ask for that because we're not going to seek, equity as trade. We want people to be successful on their own, but I think that's just the natural progression of where this is going because of the speed and the skill set and if you have the right focus.
Yeah, I love where you went with that because that kind of transitions me into this next part that I wanted to dive a little into because, I'm talking about individuals, businesses reaching out to us, talking a little bit about the discovery and how is somebody finding us? Yes, they're looking at our podcast, or some of them know about our website, or it's even word of mouth, right? But when that comes through an intake form or through our website, we review every single one of those submissions personally. Like that's what we do, and not every business is a fit. That's intentional. So can you talk to me and can you show me what the website looks like and talk a little bit about what a qualifier is and why is it structured in a way of application versus sign up? Because, and you kind of touched a little bit about it, right? It's like you want to partner up with individuals and not everyone's going to be a fit. So can you kind of walk me through that?
I want to interject real quick and just say that I think whoever watches this, whether it's 5 people or 1 million people, if you're interested in building by leveraging AI and you have some type of creative or coding or engineering or architect, whatever you want to call it, background, and you're young and motivated, I would highly advise you to reach out to John and to yourself because we're going to need more people, good people that make good decisions. You can't just rely on AI to make all your decisions. People have to look at the room and feel the room and make a decision and use AI along the way. And so the reason I bring that up is because part of the application process is just us being honest with what we can deliver and the quality at what we want to deliver it at. But it's also to kind of protect our peace in a way because it's almost an intimate process because you have to deep dive and we just don't want to just take on anybody and everybody. We also can't.
Yeah, for sure. Rudy, if you don't mind popping this up for me. And then I highly recommend anybody to who's interested or just wants to learn more to visit ai.foodandpeople.com to check this out. And I'm not going to review the whole site. I'll let y'all kind of do that on your own time. But to answer your question, like what kind of people are we looking for? And we're looking really for people in a very similar position to us, right? Years of data. That's important. We need to compare, contrast, project, and we can't do that without data. We need someone who has a large team and the ability to, not the ability, but the thought process of empowerment, right? That wants to create a superpowered team that is doing what they're doing at a 10x level, not going and replacing their accounting department, not going and replacing their operations department, or whatever it might be in that scenario, right? It's people who care about what their data is telling them, what their business is telling them. People like Bob who want to see a lay of the land of what is happening in their business on a daily basis versus scouring through countless amount of spreadsheets sent from every single department that all look very different. That's not efficient. That's not ideal, right? So you want a team that's already, I think, empowered by leadership, that's looking to, like how Bob said, jump off the cliff a little bit and dive into where the future is taking us. And it's not that everything is changing, because I mean it is, but it's that the way we do business is going to change.
Well, I said this yesterday on the pod. We were filming a different pod yesterday, but remember at the FAR talk, I talked about traditional media and how it was reshaped by social media. Well, then I mentioned that AI is doing the same thing with technology. Technology and communications are the fundamental core pieces to a lot of businesses and a lot of industries. And when you reshape technology and communication, it's inevitable. And if nobody's talking about this, feel free to quote Restrotech on this, but I very much I am super gung-ho about every industry is going to start to follow and reshape itself, because the technology and the communication tool have already started to begin reshaping them. And the people that come out of that operating differently are going to go to the industries that they operate in and start to reshape those industries. Yeah. And so it's really more of an evolution and a reform. I think some of this is going to impact the medical field.
Have you seen what Midjourney's doing? Oof.
No, I haven't seen any of that.
It's crazy.
But I just know what you talked about, the education system. Yeah. So like education, medicine, restaurants, like a lot of that is going to just turn on its head, but then we're going to come out on the other side. And I believe good people and smart people and humble people are going to still come out on top, more so than ever, actually, because they have more resources today at their fingertips.
Yeah. I forgot who said it recently. It might have been Elon, but where it was like, in 10 years, we're not even going to worry about money very much anymore. It's not going to be the currency. And trust is going to be the currency, without a doubt. Trust is going to be kind of where you're putting your time into and where you're making those partnerships.
Is that the same interview where he was bashing the lady, apparently, or something?
I forgot what she was
bashing.
I didn't watch the full interview. I just saw snippets of it, but
yeah, I'm curious. Like, I haven't watched the whole thing, but I started to watch a piece of it, and I did hear him say that, and I want to ask him, like, is that just his perception of money, or is there some kind of scenario where that is not the core metric of trade? Because
I think you just said it right there. Because what is an economy?
Yeah, exactly, right?
It's literally debt for trade. Debt traded for a service of some sort. And however much debt exists compared to, I'm butchering this entirely, but compared to the amount of services that exist, that's how you're building an economy, right? So, but it's not debt, it's money in general, and I guess it's injected in the economy. But that's the idea of it. So if services outweigh existing currency, then because services are then provided by robotics and AI, and you're getting an interesting shift in the economy.
Because there's no scenario where he believes that there's not going to be a dollar bill in 10 years. Like, how is that? Or money, like there's just, I don't know. I don't see a scenario. I'm not smart enough either, though.
I don't think any of us know how to answer that one, to
I
be
don't know
entirely
how to
honest.
answer that.
Yeah,
But
I don't want to
the,
be the person
the
to do
first
that,
part
but-
fits in my head.
Yeah.
The first part fits in my head where most people are going after it's a monetary incentive, and there's going to be more trade, real deals, real business, real trade that don't really rely on a dollar bill as much.
Yeah, so back to the question, right? Because that was
Yeah,
that was
sure.
a tangent that, by the way, none of us are in any way, shape, or form able to answer that or continue
Well, dude,
on
that's
that
the
thought
thing.
process.
That's the
'cause
thing. Is like
it's
I'm not
wild.
qualified to talk about any of this.
Yeah.
But we're actually building and we're actually doing.
Yeah, and we're looking
there's-
at it and we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no,
And-
we're not thinking about it. We're managing $50
that side
plus
of it.
$1 million
Yeah.
of business every
Yes.
single year and applying our best foot forward. So that's what I always go back to. Is like I don't know all the answers. There's so many sharper, smarter people than me.
100%.
But the reason why we approach this with confidence is because, dude, come to my office, come to the building,
Let's
come
show
to
you
the,
what we're doing.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying it's perfect. What I'm saying is that it's real. It's very real.
I doubt that you leave without a smile on your face.
It's just real.
Yeah, and just being wowed by the opportunities.
Because it's really just thought process. But yeah, so what are we looking for? Established business, open AI acceleration. You know where your data lives, right? You got those systems in place. Please don't have your data in a filing cabinet somewhere. At least we hope that you've made that move already from file to cloud. From cabinet to cloud, because that would be great and helpful. But yeah, at the end of the day, those three things I think culminate into kind of the people that we're looking for. There's obviously different layers and pieces that we have in place.
What were they?
It's going to be established business, number one,
Yeah.
for sure. Your open AI acceleration, and that you know where your data lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously there's some other little tiny things.
I mean,
that we
I
look
want to say you need to have money. I
at.
mean,
Yeah,
you
that's
need
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you need to be able to have money so you can trade this type of value. This is not cheap because it takes a lot of our time to think some of this through, and because we're three individuals that are kind of sickos in a way. But I mean, it's just true, dude. Like half of the stuff we're working on for the last build is like not even what they requested. We're just throwing in extra stuff. But money, and then also, well, you said empowerment, which is important. You said the willingness to want to invest in technology, the willingness to want to operate differently, I think is important. Yeah, I think those are all the most important things, because like the reason I say money so clearly is because I don't want anybody to be looking at this and saying, "Oh man, this is going to cramp my business." Dude, I'm not trying to tank people. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they've got to have resources.
No, yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's a big investment, but it's also, you don't want to do this for a small business per se. You should probably start building on it if you're building up your business from scratch.
That's the
but-
whole point.
yeah.
That's exactly the whole point. Yeah, well said, John. Because there's people that are building from scratch with this type of mindset. It's much more difficult to go into an established business and reshape it.
100%.
Nonetheless, a 40-year-old franchise business that operates 80-year-old brands, that operates in a 100-year-old industry that, dude, we are the dinosaur industry in a lot of cases.
And
I have a lot of friends that are still, I'm not kidding you, you can call them right now. Every Tuesday, they get into the office and pile up all the paper invoices
No, hombre.
and start signing checks, dude, and approving. I mean, it's still happening every single day.
This is wildly different from going filing cabinet to cloud, right? From going from of cash to card. You have to remake the business. You have to rebuild the business.
Well, and you said it best just a bit ago, is you have to think differently. Your
Yeah.
mindset has to change. That's why it goes back to, like, what are we teaching our youth? Like, if you're not teaching them ethics and you're not teaching them, who we are and how we operate as humans, you're gonna get some of this stuff and be very destructive, I think. Because
Yes.
you can put a lot of, there's a lot of, going back to tricks, but there's a lot of, when you talk about using images or using communication or using funnels and digital platforms and, automations, like if that person is not like a good person, it's gonna push out a bunch of shit, like, you know, and it's gonna have an impact.
This tool's powerful. It's either constructive or destructive. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just depends on the person using it.
Yeah.
What do you all think about a business owner that, let's say their business has plateaued, they're not trending up or down. They're kind of just making the same reoccurring cash year over year. And they come and ask the question, because I'm sure people must think this. It's like, okay, if I want to bring AI into my business, why is it really worth me bringing in? Is it going to make me more money? What exactly is it going to do for me? And I know that's a tough question to answer.
No, it's not tough. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off and say it's not tough. You have about 5 years or less to where everyone that's looking for a job understands AI, and they're not going to work with companies that are freaking dinosaurs. They're not going to come into a company and be like, oh, you don't understand AI, but this is literally how I do all my work. So then how are you going to employ capable team members in the future if you yourself don't understand this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have an environment for that person to flourish with some of their skill sets, because people that are right now 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, when they are 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 and looking for a job, your company's not going to be up there. It's just not. Like, that's just the nature of the game.
And that's so true. Just staying relevant with
Relevancy
businesses
has a
around.
big thing to do, but yeah, like, if you're closed-minded, you're going to miss out on a ton of good people that are going to be trying to knock on your door and get a job.
But also, if your business is just the same year over year, you're not listening to your data. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm always a proponent for. And we see it in media, right? We double down on what works, we remove and cut what doesn't, right? And that goes for across the board. I mean, that's what everybody needs to be looking at in their businesses. What's working, what's not working. And if you're staying the same year over year, it's because you're just working the business, you're not working on it.
Yeah. At what point would you guys say that AI is not for a business, or someone's a wrong fit for AI?
I don't think anybody's a wrong fit for AI. I think for us, right? It just goes back to what we said before. A small business doesn't necessarily need this. I highly recommend they just start going and educating themselves. A new business is going to do this from scratch, and they should be educating themselves along the way. Established business is what's hard. That is what's going in and understanding a group of people's day and flow. Because what is a business? A group of people with a singular task and a singular goal, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say that AI it should not be used everywhere in a business. 100%. I've voiced a lot of my opinions about that, particularly with things that eliminate
Agree with that. Yeah.
connection, right? Or where connection is valuable, right? Hospitality, etc. But there's also some areas of the business where if you're just building for the sake of building, or you're automating for the sake of automating, and it's not actually helping you run the business or speed up the business, then it's just a distraction. Then you're just playing a game at that point, So I would just say that, I think every business should use a function of AI, but it comes down to business owners still making good decisions on where that AI should be used.
Yeah. When you speak to other business owners, franchisors, et cetera, Bob, what would you say the biggest misconception is of AI when they're thinking about it in their business or their franchise, et cetera?
I think there's, I don't know how to answer that question, but I'm just going to give it my best shot. I think there's a lot of people that one, fear, obviously, but let's get past that. Two, I think a lot of people understand AI to be like a singular tool, or like a functional tool that they've put a label on. And I think you really need to kind of, and John can correct me, he understands it differently, but I think you have to take that layer off, ChatGPT, Anthropic, or whatever it is, Claude, and understand that the learning algorithm and that ability and that type of technology is driving innovation and speed at a pace that we've never seen before. And that's really more of a concept, not a product. So I think what I've seen is most people are associate AI with a product. And I think that's a big mistake in my opinion. Does that
they
make
still-
sense, John?
Yeah, so they're
Yeah,
still
that's-
seeing it as like a software as a service or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
or
you
a
said.
chat.
A
Simple
lot
as
of people
like,
just see it as a joke.
oh yeah, I use AI. I use ChatGPT.
I got you.
You know how many people say that,
All
right?
the
Like,
time. Yeah.
all the time. It's like the default, right? So I don't know. It's. I think I see that. I wish I could give a more simple answer besides the fear in that. Let me think of another one that could be good.
It's just crazy. I mean, I think it's under what's the word I'm looking for? It's like balled up into an LLM, like a language model. It's balled up into I use ChatGPT realm. But then, like yesterday, I was just looking at what other people are building, and there's somebody who used Claude to build out. They built out this camera system on a dolly that's inside of a cage, and they can put their leg in it or their arm, whatever it might be, and it takes scans of their whole body, and then looks for, I think it's melanoma or something like that, and looks for little spots and compares it week over week to see if anything's growing or anything needs your attention. And these are just little tiny spots that are on your skin. But like, this is just a person in their house, like with building something crazy that's probably going to become medical very soon, and then probably industry wide, because it seems very useful. And it's just think bigger, right?
Yeah, I think bigger is important too. I would also say that I have not seen a lot of people say this, which I am an advocate for. I think AI is a beautiful training tool. I think it's awesome to get smarter. And let me make sure I make this very clear. The reason why it's awesome is because if you're actively thinking and you're using AI and you're deciding whether what it's spitting out is trash or really good, then you're going to be learning the whole time. Now, if you're just taking it for face value every single time and defaulting to AI's genius, well, you're totally wrong. But an active mind that is thinking it through with everything that they know, it's only going to sharpen and speed up your activity around that certain topic. It's like having real-time conversation, and how can you not learn from a peer or somebody that has a lot of data inputted into it? Again, it's not 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Like I've done some crazy testing where it's like the simplest things in the world. Like you could ask it like, how much is this? And then it's like $10. And then it's like, are you sure? And it's like, oh no, I just found a new one. It's $10,000. And it's like, wait, what? So there's a lot of error still, but that's why I say I don't even know if that's how you describe it, but it's like an active mind. So I would say that's another one, is people don't see it as an opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And it's
Something I said before, people fear the task less, something like AI. There's less fear in doing the job, because you have backup constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So, John, coming from a design and product manager background, technology background for myself, Bob operating multiple businesses your entire life, I think it's important that everyone knows that this isn't something we just learned in a classroom or read up on. We're building in our existing business and restaurants. So I feel like I really want to get an answer for everyone. And Bob, why do you think it really mattered that we built in our own business first before we can offer this to someone else?
Because then we would be in a different industry. I'd be in a different business today. I'd be operating a new business. I don't want to do that. I love what I do. I love what we're doing. We have our own challenges, but we're improving how we're doing what we're doing at F&P, which is hospitality and running restaurants. And so I'm not announcing a career change. You know what I mean?
We also didn't start this wanting to do that. We
Yeah,
started
correct.
this with, well, let's fix our business, let's remake it, let's build it on an intelligence layer, and then we'll see what happens after that. But then it's just like, okay, this is pretty wildly valuable. Okay, this is pretty crazy. Okay, we should probably do this for other people.
And then
So
and then it
it's
screwed up the sponsorship strategy that we thought we would have.
Yeah.
Like, I have not called a single person. I hope someone calls me that wants to sponsor one of our podcasts. Like, please call. Like, call us. We will answer the phone. But we have not reached out to a single person in a year plus We have no interest in that. And the reason why is because just to be able to assess who that business would be and how long they're going to be around, and for us to put our name behind it, is a job in itself right now, because every industry is getting disrupted. You know what I mean? Like by virtue of us taking a sponsorship, you're basically vouching for the product or that company. It's kind of difficult to do that when a lot of things are getting disrupted right now. And it makes me nervous because I don't want anybody watching these videos and me tell them use this and then tomorrow it's gone. You know what I mean? So we changed that strategy, and a lot of it, just like John said, it's evolved, and it feels like somewhat of the natural progression. But to answer your question, I think that it's a way to increase our cash flow. It's a way to strengthen our company. It's a way to recruit more capable individuals and leaders and talent. It's a way to increase our productivity here internally. It's a way to build a culture of continuous improvement. I mean, it's accomplishing a lot of things, and no part of me wants to get into a different industry. I want to get into different aspects of our industry, but not jump in industries.
No. Your data's talking to you. If you don't have somebody that's listening to it with you, we're here to serve you. foodandpeople.ai. Subscribe, share. This is Restrotech.